responding and doing in response to COVID-19?
Yeah, I think South Dakota is doing what they can. I think we've made national press, right? I mean, we surged later in the pandemic than a lot of the country and a lot of the world. And I think part of it is we've learned about this virus that not every location, not every geographic area is the same. I think being sparsely populated makes a huge difference. And I think mitigating things makes a difference. I think we got to remember that early in this pandemic, we did a lot of aggressive mitigation in South Dakota before the virus was well established in our state. My kids were home from college last spring at spring break and never went back. High schools and a lot of schools took kind of their spring break and never really went back to in-class schools. People were doing just a lot of things, even businesses and so forth just changed dramatically right away. And I think that had a huge mitigating effect that was lasting in our state. And as we reopened and things that we knew would happen as the virus would circulate and we'd have more infections, and we've seen that. I think it's a little worse than what we'd hoped in terms of the number of people infected. I was just looking at some data from the South Dakota Department of Health. We're in a red zone. And if you look at the rate of cases in South Dakota, even just as data from yesterday, we're the third highest in the country in terms of rate of cases per 100,000 people. The country in large is running about 385 cases per 100,000 people right now. In South Dakota, we're more like at 691. So almost double that. And that's the third highest in the country. If you look at the number of people that are testing and what percent of those people are positive, again, we're pretty high. About 20% of the people that test in South Dakota are positive for COVID, whereas the rest of the country is about half that, about 11%. Now, that might mean in South Dakota, we don't go get tested as much if we're not, anxious to get tested. But that's just another statistic I'm looking at. And deaths, right now, if you look at the deaths per 100,000, lately, we're pretty high. We're at 19 deaths per 100,000 in South Dakota. The rest of the country is running more like 4 or 5. So it's a lot worse than I think we'd hoped. I think it was part of the push to do more aggressive mitigation again this fall and this winter and pre-holiday. The Avera system has been pushing hard to make sure people are doing the things that really can help slow the spread. And that is, cover your face, wear a mask when you're out and about, wash your hands, and just stay socially distant as much as you can. So we're going to continue that message. The other health systems, the Department of Health, others are all on the same page in promoting that. There's no doubt that those things work. And I think, just implementing those, I think we proved it can help in our country and in our state, even early in the pandemic. We just need to double down on that. We need to persist in that. Vaccines are coming and we'll get through it. I think it's just, it is where we're at, and we're continuing to try to live with COVID. We started talking about living with COVID this summer and getting back to business and doing the things we need to do. So we are living with COVID. I think the numbers of cases have gotten higher than we'd hoped. But that just means we need to double down and do harder at mitigating.
All right. Well, everyone does have a part to play to help our community mitigate, get through this, and get through it with the fewest number of casualties and hospitalizations as possible. So
yeah, and our community is doing great, Jamie. Both Fort Pierre and Pierre mayors have come out and really pushed mitigation. I think most of our businesses are doing a great job. I've been out and about a little more than I was early in this pandemic as well, and it is comforting to know when I go into a store or go into a business, most people are masking. There is a lot of that happening. There's sanitizer, there's plexiglass. There's just a lot of things that have been done right to try to mitigate this. And I would just encourage those that aren't to do it. What's the harm, right?
Yep, exactly. And there's a lot of, as you learn to adapt as a business or even as an individual, you do learn new skills and new, you can maybe reach more people. So there are positives to reacting and serving
Yeah,
your community in the best way you can. So.
right.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Holland, for your time and for all of this great information. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope you have a very happy holidays coming up here. And thank you again for helping us do our best.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Take care.
Take care.